Good evening, everyone. My name is Kimberly Holiday, Mayor Pro Tem, sitting in for our mayor this evening. I would like to call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. We're going to start out our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible. All right, a moment of silence. You may be seated. So happy to have each of you here. We welcome our friends and family and those who will be watching online. We're going to move to public comment. It looks like we have one, Shane Naral. Do I need to read this?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm Shane Novak with Strong Towns Pflugerville. The Master Mobility Plan is a step in the right direction for Pflugerville as it introduces much-needed separated bike lane standards and addresses critical connections in our trail network. I'm sure you've all heard of a phenomenon in urban planning known as induced demand. When you build or widen a road, it may decrease congestion for a short period of time, but the road ends up either back at the congestion levels before the expansion or worse. Currently, the City of Pflugerville is inducing demand for automobiles by continuously widening and building more roads. This is very dangerous as it risks the long-term solvency of the city, as it must accrue more debt to continue expansions and maintenance of the roadway network. As one of the fastest growing cities in the nation, this is a very dangerous thing to be inducing. Inducing more automobile travel demand while the city is developing rapidly sets the city up to be incredibly dependent on cars in the near future, more than it already is, which is an unsustainable move. Inducing demand in the only transportation network we have does not lead to a better performing network. It only clogs it up more than it already is. Congestion will get worse, air quality will decrease, and the city will have to spend an ever-increasing amount of money to maintain the network. Induced demand can be used for the city's benefit, though. The city could build a complete bike lane and a complete trail network, inducing demand in transportation types other than cars. If you built a road in the middle of a field without connection to any other roads, sure, cars could technically drive on it, but it would be dangerous, inconvenient, and not worth your time to go out and get your car on that stretch of road. That is the state of our current bike network. People don't use our current bike lanes and trails for anything simply because they aren't connected to any other bike lanes. They're dangerous because they're unprotected, and it's just plain easier to drive wherever your destination is because the city has prioritized building out a road network while our other transportation networks sit disconnected and undeveloped. You cannot say that we don't see the demand for cycling, therefore we shouldn't invest in that network. There isn't an actual network in the first place. Sure, we have trails and some sidewalks, but those are intended for recreation rather than actual transportation to and from work, stores, homes, and schools. So with the current network in mind, there is no way that you'd be able to see what the actual demand for cycling is other than through surveys that most people don't ever fill out. Simply put, if we want to actually tackle congestion and travel demand in the city, we need more than one complete transit network. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Shane. Anyone else wishing to make public comment? All right. Having none, we're going to move on to agenda item 4A, Youth Advisory Council presentation, given to us by our own Trista Evans, our city secretary, Natalie Matthews, and Francis Morales Devala.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem. I will only be up here for a second, just to remind you all what the Youth Advisory Council is. And this is a program that we do October through May for our high school juniors and seniors to teach them about city government and really show them everything that we do and everything that they do for us, and because I want to give them all the time. Unfortunately, Natalie was not able to attend, but we do have Francis here, who is our vice chair, who will be able to talk to you about this year.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Frances Morales, and I am the Vice Chair of the Youth Advisory Council. And I'm here to talk a little bit about what we did this year. So one of our main events that we attended this year was in January, and it was the Youth Advisory Council Summit, where our Youth Advisory Council met with other Youth Advisory Councils from across the state of Texas in Beaumont, and we attended multiple seminaries in which we learned about leadership, and we got a lot of ideas on how to improve our program for next year, especially since this was our first year. So we got a lot of ideas, and we also just bonded as a group and planned events for next year as well. We were here for 2 days, and we attended seminaries about leadership, and there were some that were about how to host events for Youth Advisory Council, which was really important to us, especially moving forward towards the next year. Alongside with learning about city government and how to be a good Youth Advisory Council, we also had a main project that we worked on throughout the year, which was our trail project, in which we made an interactive guide for people wanting to travel alongside the trails of Pflugerville. For this, we embraced the title of Pflugerville being the trail capital of Texas, and we really wanted to embrace this and make our trails navigable for our citizens and the people that live here. So what we did for this project was first we went to different trails, and we identified unique trees, and in which we thought were unique and people would enjoy learning more about. And for this, we identified different characteristics of each bush, each tree, and different fauna, and we measured the trees. We took note of the flowers that were in the trees, the bushes, the branches, everything, all along the trails, and then kind of mapped it in a way that was interactive and would also provide more information for learners and plant lovers alike.
Love it.
And so this, again, as I said, will be used to make an interactive tool for a guided tree walk along the trails, especially since Pflugerville does have so many unique trails around the city. And we also wanted to really emphasize the beauty that is already within Pflugerville. These are a couple of pictures about what we did. We met together a couple of Saturdays, and this is when we recorded all the trees and everything, and we met Saturday mornings from around 8 a.m. to like 11 a.m. So just a couple hours in the morning for a couple of Saturdays in which we recorded all of this information for our guided maps. And then after this whole project, we also learned a lot about city government. So this was a meeting in which we met with urban planners and city developers and kind of gave our feedback on what we wanted from Pflugerville moving forward in terms of development, in terms of companies that want to move into Pflugerville, and also just, again, and also we talked about having more bike lanes, having more walkable cities, having more local stores and restaurants, and also developing downtown Pflugerville, which is a big project that the city developers wanted to talk to us about. And this not only made us learn more about city government and urban planning, but also made us feel like our voices were heard, especially as the city of Pflugerville continues to expand and population continues to increase. So looking forward toward next year, what we're planning to do is having a social media page in which we can post about all of the different events that we will be hosting, because we want to host more events that engage the community. And we're participating in a lot of events such as Deutschlandfest and Slice of Pflugerville, in which we want to have booths to talk to people about what we're doing, and also the new passion projects that we're going to be working on next year. So next year, our main focus is going to be scheduling for engagement, volunteering, and education. We really want to focus a lot on volunteering this year, since we didn't do a lot of it this year. So Next year, we're gonna focus on volunteering again in these fests, but also in the animal shelter and nursing home and places like this, in which we can have a real impact within the community, as well as having more events throughout the year in which we learn more about city government and we have more guest speakers and really get a sense of all of the branches of government that Pflugerville has to offer. That's it. Are there any questions?
I don't know how y'all sat there just with all, yes, let's clap. I'm like usually a snapper, and so I'm feeling big energy. First of all, thank you, Francis, for bringing a beautiful presentation. I get excited every time we talk about the trails. Thank you all so much for all that you're doing and your excitement around all things Pflugerville and government. I'm excited about it. Any questions or comments from our council?
I'd love to make a comment. No, I'm really excited to see the Tree and Trail project, but I think what I'm most excited about is the way you all got involved with the future planning of the city. We know this city will outlive each and every one of us. We need to hand it down to the generations, and it's exciting to see the future defining the future. So thank you for that.
The future.
Are y'all going on to your senior year?
Yes, I am.
You are, and then.
And
Oh yeah. Okay. And will y'all be continuing on with the youth advisory?
I know that I am continuing on, and Natalie, who unfortunately wasn't able to be here, I think is also planning to continue on. So
Absolutely. Thank you for everything.
So, yes, so it sounds like you're also creating this unique cohort for yourselves, and you're being very innovative, because it sounds like you want to continue the projects, even though we know that there's going to be a new cohort starting. I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
thank you.
What I would love if I can get all of council to take a picture with those who are here.
I'm glad I wore this coat.
You will be matching.
Ready.
And then if all my YAC students can stand by the flags. I do. That's up to you.
Francis, you did a great job. Yeah. Yeah.
That was quality.
It's really big energy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ma'am.
Yeah, you sit right here. Great. Moving right along, we're going to go to the reading of the consent agenda. Are there any items that council wishes to have pulled this evening?
5A, 5C, 5F, and 5H.
I heard 5A, 5C, 5F, 5H.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Any others? Okay.
Wonderful. Then with that, I have items 5A, 5C, 5F, and 5H pulled from the consent agenda. All remaining items may be acted upon in a single motion.
All right.
Move to approve.
Second.
Do I need to do something here? I forgot what. I forgot. She's gonna just push one thing. Offline. Okay. Okay. Motion passes. All right, now we're going to move right here. Yes. Yep. To public hearings, 6A, conduct a public hearing and consider approving a resolution naming the original wing of the Pflugerville Public Library, the Audrey T. Deering Wing. All right, Brianna.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Tonight before you, we have a public hearing and a resolution naming the original wing of the Pflugerville Public Library the Audrey T. Deering Wing. I'm going to give a brief overview of our naming policy, which was adopted last year by Council. This is our first naming request to come before Council, so just wanted to give you a high overview of some of the steps within the naming policy. The first, when receiving an application, is an initial review by the City Manager's Office to make sure that the application meets the policy, that it's a complete application, that the application fee has been paid. After that, the request will then go to the facility subcommittee if it's related to a facility. In this case, it is, where the facility subcommittee will evaluate the request and make a recommendation. From there, a public notice has to be posted on the city's website 7 days prior to a public hearing, along with conducting a public hearing by the city council, and then council action by a simple majority vote to approve or deny the request. The request that we received is to name the original wing of the library in honor of Audrey T. Deering, who passed away late last year. This honors more than 40 years of service to the library and the community, and it also recognizes the contributions foundational to the library's existence today by Mrs. Deering. Within the packet, council packet, is the application as well, if you want to be able to read the captions, but this image here is just to help you identify who Mrs. Deering was. Mrs. Deering helped co-found the Friends of the Library in 1981. She led the creation of Pflugerville's first volunteer-run library. After mobile services ended, she served multiple leadership roles throughout the community, known for coordinating donation of the land for the current facility and spearheading Window to the World, which is the stained glass artwork within the library. And she actively supported the library until her passing in 2024. The application that was submitted by the Friends of the Library. Within that application were letters of support from community members throughout the community, as well as Mrs. Deering's family. This is just a facility map to highlight where the proposed signage and the wing would be. So the stars are where the proposed signage would be, and that's kind of the wing of the library to be named the Audrey T. Deering Wing. This is proposed signage mock-up just to help give a visual of where that signage might go. The signage would be funded by the Friends of the Library, as within the naming policy. Applicants requesting a name or a rename are responsible for the costs associated with that naming or renaming. The Friends of the Public Library are aware of that and have agreed to that, which is listed within the application as well. Tonight before you, we recommend approval, 1, to conduct a public hearing, and then 2, recommend approval of the resolution naming the original wing, the Audrey T. Deering Wing. The facility subcommittee did review this proposal and recommend approval. Staff also reviewed the application. We confirmed it met all the criteria for naming a city facility after an individual, including a strong historic connection to the community and the facility proposed for naming, credible long-term service to the city and its residents, and broad community support for the request. We have members from the Friends of the Library here who are available to answer any questions, as well as Mrs. Deering's family members.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone present wishing to make public comment?
Yes. Shall I go there?
Yes, if you'll just step to the podium, please. And state your name.
My name is Denise Deering, and I'm Audrey Deering's daughter. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and City Council members, for considering this. It was a huge part of my mother's life, and I know she would be way past delighted to know this is happening. I have to point out some really important people. All these people back here, they're volunteers with the Pflugerville Community Library now, and many of them were there at the beginning. We have Miss Thornton, who's the original librarian. So we have some amazing people that were important to my mother throughout her life. And I want to thank you again for considering this, because it means so much to my family.
Thank you. I was actually going to ask them if they would please stand up. That's what that was. Thank you so much.
May my brother stand?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Anyone else wishing to have public comment? Thank you so much, Ms. Deering.
Move to close public comment
Second.
or public hearing, excuse me.
All right. Motion passes. Do we have a motion to change the name to Audrey T. Deering?
Move to approve.
Second.
And the motion passes unanimously. All right, we're going to move on to item 6B, which is to conduct a second public hearing regarding the Community Development Block Grant Annual Action Plan for Program Year 2025. Yasmin Dirk.
Good
Dr.
evening.
Yasmin Dirk.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. My name is Dr. Yasmin Turk, and I'm Planning Manager for the City of Pflugerville. And I am pleased to be here for the second public hearing for the CDBG program. This is a program that provides annual grants to primarily serve low to moderate income areas. The selection criteria includes that it must benefit low to moderate income people and prevent or eliminate blight or serve other urgent community development needs. As discussed last time, these are the priorities that were brought out through the lengthy public engagement process. And for the 2025 project priorities, they're infrastructure, programs, and administration. And we have been awarded over $347,000, and the funds will primarily go towards the construction of Parkway Drive, as well as youth and senior scholarships and workforce solutions and the administration of the grant. So after today's hearing, the next step would also be the June 2nd hearing for the Planning and Zoning Commission, where they will decide if they want to make a recommendation to City Council. And after that would be the June 24th chance to come back here for approval from City Council.
The
And I'm happy
improvements
to
on
answer any
Parkway
questions.
Drive, how far do those go back and how wide are those?
I don't have the exact details on the project as it's going to be completed. If you go to the website, we do have the details of the plan, but they don't have the specifics of the projects yet, as we just received the award.
Okay. I know that sidewalks is something that people in that neighborhood have been asking for a long time.
Yeah.
I'd like to see if we can make that happen. I don't know if
Yeah.
we've got that in the funding, but I know that that's a community desire.
Yes, thank you. And which also brings me to a point I wanted to make, which is that staff is open to hearing recommendations on suggested projects that would meet the requirements of this grant. We accept those year round as we do planning for upcoming CDBG grants. And the complete plan is available on our website. And that's all I have.
All right, any more questions, council? Is there anyone here wishing to make a public comment?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
I have a question. Am I allowed to second for this?
Yes.
Okay.
She can make seconds.
Okay. Just curious. Okay. But I won't. And the motion passes.
Move to approve.
Oh, this is just here.
Oh, was that just here? Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Sorry. I apologize. You had it written on there, but I just wanted to make sure.
All right, and now we're going to move on to, let's see, 5B.
That would be item 5A, and that is approving an ordinance on second reading with a caption reading, an ordinance of the City of Pflugerville, Texas, amending Title 15 Land Usage, Chapter 153 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pflugerville, Texas, by amending the Aspire Pflugerville 2040 Comprehensive Plan adopted by the ordinance number 1545-22-04-26 to incorporate the Pflugerville Forward Mass Mobility Plan, providing for repeal of the conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
I know that we had a lot of conversation last time about the width of the roads and the options for that. It wasn't entirely clear to me looking at the documents to what extent that conversation has been reflected in the master mobility plan going forward.
Sure. Emily or thank you. Jeremy. I'll show you how we incorporate it.
Good evening. So we retained the same right-of-way widths. What we did was we went back and we looked at the interim at an interim condition where we would put sidewalk on the north and west sides of the street to account for bike lanes.
Okay.
Then in the future, what we would also do is, as development occurred, look at doing a fee in lieu for the other side of the sidewalk on the east and on the south side, so that in the future we would create a policy for that fee in lieu as an option, and then at a point in time, then we would have that constructed, and the city would construct it with those fee in lieu funds.
Can you explain what that is?
The fee in lieu.
Yes.
So in lieu of actually constructing it, instead of constructing that side of the bike lane, they would actually pay a fee to us for that amount that we identify, and that was one of the listed items, as well as just a future policy to establish a fee in lieu for that, and then at what point do you want to utilize those funds to go and construct.
And that gives us a little bit more flexibility as we see, as the gentleman talked about bicycle usage.
Shane.
If there's heavy bicycle usage in that area, maybe we make a improvement there more quickly. Whereas if there's an area where we've got a bike lane but there's nobody on it, we can leave that in its natural state.
Correct. And so and yes, is the short answer. We would ensure that we had the one side of the bike lane would be constructed on the west side or on the north side of that street, and then in the future we would construct the other side. So it's essentially a compromise where we would have the facility installed but on one side. We would still have the amount of area, and we would have a dedicated space for that future bike lane to go into once that was determined.
That sounds good. Councilmember Weiss, I know you had a lot of questions about that. Are you satisfied with
I was satisfied with the renderings of the interim solution. I really appreciate you coming back with those. I do have a little bit of, let's call it confusion on the fee in lieu. Frankly, if we're offering the opportunity to build it or pay to build it in the future, we might as well just have them build it. I don't know if a fee in lieu is necessary if at the time we can have it constructed for money that we're receiving at the time. I saw the option of having one bike lane instead of symmetrical bike lanes as a way to ensure that the city wasn't bidding more expensive projects than we needed to. But if we've got the revenue from the developer, just build it. That's my feedback on that.
Awesome. Any more questions? I make a motion to approve 5A.
I'll second.
And the motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
5C.
Next item is 5C. Approving an amendment to an agreement with Winstead PC to engage in special legal services for the Downtown East project and authorizing the city manager to execute the same.
David?
So I'm just curious why we're going to Winstead instead of utilizing our regular city legal services.
Sure.
Winstead brings a special expertise in condo regimes that I do not have to be able to bring to the table on this, and so they're much better suited than my firm to assist in this type of project.
Why Winstead in particular?
I think because Winstead is, I wasn't involved in the selection process, but I assume it's because they're familiar with the project. They assisted with all the other project aspects with respect to negotiations and contracts, and they do have some experience, some expertise in that area. So I'm assuming it's just continuity, but I would defer to staff on that particular question.
Emily?
Good evening. Yes, Winstead has been our special counsel for the Downtown East project. They've been instrumental in helping us get through all the other documents and working with Griffin Swinnerton on the project and establishing the condominium concept as well as the Property Owners Association. And so we felt that they knew the team, they're experts at this area of law, and so that's why we opted to continue them for this service.
Okay. I know they're being in the field. I know there's a lot of lawyers who can handle this, but the idea that they're part of the existing team,
yes,
seems fairly persuasive. All right, that continuity is good.
Okay.
All right,
thank you.
Move to approve.
Second. Go ahead. Okay, 5F.
5F is approving a memorandum of understanding with Pflugerville Independent School District to participate in a skilled trades academy and authorizing the city manager to execute the same.
David?
I'd like a little presentation about that. I think that the public would benefit
Awesome.
from knowing more about the Skilled Trades Academy and how we partner with BFISD on that.
Brandon?
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. We've historically worked with the Pflugerville Independent School District on a variety of different things for skilled trades. For reference, Skilled Trades Academy, PFISD does this for not just water, wastewater, which is what this is particularly targeted for. They do this for other different trades across, whether it's HVAC, electrical, but this one is specifically for water and wastewater. So my industry with water and wastewater is a dying industry, so to speak. The average age is in the 50s and 60s, which is not a good thing, not a bad thing. It's just the way that the industry is kind of moved. We've been working with the Pflugerville Independent School District for almost 4 years, I believe now. We're going on 4 years. The past 2 years, we've had the partnership with the Texas American Water Works Association to partner in with their SETH program to get more students that are maybe not going into college, maybe are unsure if they're going to go to college, into a water wastewater trade. So the benefit is the director of the Skilled Trades Academy with Pflugerville ISD, her husband works in this industry as well, so that really helps to push the program forward, hence why we have been doing it for so long. So this really allows students that are in Pflugerville ISD to be able to have a career path forward, to be able to get a D water license at the end of it, so they're allowed to take a class, work with partner agencies with us, City of Austin, City of Round Rock. There's private entities as well.
To work with us.
To work with us, correct. So, I mean, I'm not trying to say that we're very popular in this neighborhood, but we worked with PFISD before we got branched out to the other cities as well. So it's a very popular program that kind of branched out from here, from Pflugerville in particular. So the intent, though, is to really get students that maybe aren't interested in college or don't know if they want to go to college to be able to move them towards a trade career instead of pushing them towards just college. So this allows them that avenue. And also at the end of this Skilled Trades Academy, they're allowed to test for their D water license, which allows them a foot in the door for Pflugerville, Austin, Round Rock, whoever they want to go work for in water and wastewater.
And PCDC is also participating in this, correct? Or is this the same memorial? It's a different one?
Different one.
Okay, but they're participating with the ISD in something it's similar.
In more workforce programs?
Yeah. It's a very good program. Very wonderful program.
Ours is very targeted towards water, wastewater, knowing kind of where our labor force is looking.
I noticed that right when you said that, when I said that. So,
Could you give me an idea of what this MOU, practically, from a practical perspective, what it allows? Does this allow them to come and tour our facility and get hands-on experience? Does this allow our employees to go and help teach? What do the mechanics look like?
So they have a certified instructor that teaches the course itself. We dedicate staff members depending on the topic of discussion. So, for example, if they have a day where the textbook goes into surface water treatment, we will provide either an operator, a supervisor, or someone that can give them a real world perspective on how that works in their community. We also partner, while the surface water plant expansion is under construction, we partner with the general contractor to do a tour of how the existing facility works and how the expanded facility will work, as well as it kind of gets them an idea of like the construction trade while they're walking through that project as well. So we're really dedicating an hour a week kind of thing while the course is going on. And it's shared between the other partner agencies as well, the other municipalities. But it's very minimal involvement, but also targeted towards what our expertise is.
So my one concern about the agreement, as I read the agreement, was that it looked like it's only for 1 year. Is this something that we'll be renewing every year, or do we have the opportunity for a long-term agreement on this?
It depends on student involvement, right? So if we did a long-term agreement and they don't have a lot of students to be able to make it worthwhile for other partner agencies, then it kind of, we have this extended MOU, but we're not actually participating. So it's 1 year once we know that they have student involvement, enough students enrolled in the program. This year it's 24, if I remember correctly, in this particular one, but it's mainly driven based upon student enrollment.
So, how are you? I'm excited about it. How are you getting other students excited about it? How is administration sharing this and marketing this? Because it's actually really exciting. Everyone's path is not a four-year institution, and someone should tell everyone that water is actually the new currency. And so I'm hearing a job, some credentials, something that will move you forward, and hopefully you will want to work here where we are on top of all things water.
So it is very much allowing them to allow for a career in this industry.
Yes.
Most of the time, so myself included, you kind of stumble into this. You don't go, I wonder where wastewater goes. You kind of stumble into that career.
My bill is high.
Yeah, so most people don't understand that there's a lot of skilled tradespeople that are involved in water wastewater. But our biggest advocate for this is actually Tracy Hendricks with the ISD, who's the CTE director, because again, her husband works in this industry. And so they know for a fact that they see a lot of their, people in their business, in our business, that are retiring in 5 years.
Yes.
And she working with the ISD knows that she has the ability to advocate for students to be able to, she knows the ones that aren't going to college or want a career in something different.
I love that.
So she does a lot of the outreach for the ISD. We as a growing community, I think last year, KVU or KXAN did a story about this program in particular, with the partnership with all the partnering cities as well, to be able to push that messaging out as well.
Is Impact in the house tonight?
Pardon?
No.
I was asking, was Impact in the house tonight so they can run back and tell that story? Is 24 a high number? What's a good number?
That's about on par. Last year, I think we were at 16, 17, somewhere like that. So
Awesome.
we're kind of, but you got to keep in mind too, it's one class with one instructor. So you kind of have to limit that at about 25 before you start getting that like student to instructor count way off.
So you're good right now.
We are.
That's great. Any more questions, Council?
Well, I know if Councilman Matera were here, he'd be talking about how important the future of water is and how, the legislature is appropriating billions of dollars for water infrastructure. And water is good work, and it's also, essential. Because without water, we can't have coffee.
Yeah, nothing. There's a lot of
water is essential for life.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You satisfied?
I am satisfied. Move to approve.
Second.
And the motion passes. 5H.
5H is approving a contract with T. Morales Company Electrical and Controls Ltd. in the amount of $1,350,400 for procurement of an emergency standby generator associated with the Colorado River Raw Water Pump Station Expansion Project, Package 1C, and authorizing the city manager to execute the same.
David, the floor is yours.
I know we had issues with not having backup power and backup generators when we had the great what was it, Uri?
Yuri.
The Winter Storm Uri. This is just a single backup on that station, correct? And now we'll have backups at every failure point, is that correct?
I don't know how to say every failure point, so I want to.
You tried
what
it.
you mean by that? But why don't I have Jeff come on up, our city engineer, to do a fantastic job.
He tried to do it every.
I just want to make sure I don't answer that wrong.
Certainly give my my best attempt. Mayor Pro Tem.
Good evening.
Serena Council, good evening. Pleasure to present. I guess I'll move forward. This item goes back a number of months / years. It's back in 2023, January, that we actually executed a contract with Team Morales, or entered a notice of intent to award with Team Morales. And through the process, we continually negotiated with FEMA, trying to get authorization to proceed and award the contract. FEMA would not authorize us to award the contract until we'd actually received the grant. This is for the emergency backup generator at the raw water pump station at the Colorado River. It's a key critical component to our water delivery to Lake Pflugerville and also the water treatment plant, and provide fresh potable water throughout the city. This competitive sealed bids were received in January. This is funded through a hazard mitigation grant with FEMA, $2.6 million grant. City's cost share is 10%, which is a real bargain. It's taken us a while to get there, but it's certainly been worth the effort. We also receive funds to administer the grant, and 5% of the total grant, another $132,000. We feel this is worthwhile. We'll be presenting documents, if approved, we'll be presenting documents for Ms. Breland's signature later this week to execute the construction grant.
And the funding, the FEMA funding on this is not going to be affected by next year's whatever they're doing in Washington. It's just, this money has already been appropriated
And secured.
Okay. All right.
All right, Jeff, quick question for you on this one. So this is going to be located down at the intake, about 15 miles south of us?
14.79 miles at Shelton Road.
More or less.
More or less, roughly. I got to remember you're an engineer, so we get the exact numbers. I appreciate that. As I recall, there are 4 pumps feeding the 30.
Currently 3. There will be a 4th.
There will be a 4th. Now, when we add the second pipe down, is it going in the same pump station? Will this backup generator support the second Colorado River pipeline, or will we need to expand to support that as we complete that additional project?
No, there will be adequate power to run the full project.
Okay.
The new 42-inch pipeline will be able to provide the same flow as if you ran the dual pipelines, the larger diameter. So instead of constructing 2 30 inches, we constructed a 42. This will allow us to take the 30-inch out of service for necessary repairs. And just to mention, it's been performing rather well, but it is 20+ years old.
Indeed. No, I'm excited about that. And of course, I know people don't really understand that 42 is twice as big as 30, but you engineers make that happen, so I appreciate that.
That pi d square equation just continues to work.
There you go. No, I'm satisfied then. Thank you.
All right. Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jeff.
And the motion passes. Thank you all for allowing me to serve tonight. Our meeting is adjourned.